Good Thursday morning, Coastal Bend. This is your weather impact alert update. There is more rain on the way and we are going to get started. Stormy weather, keep the umbrellas handy. We will be discussing, well, that high temperatures are going to be much cooler today thanks to the stormy weather. But additionally, we've got a severe weather risk and a rainfall flooding risk. So the greatest risk for any severe thunderstorms is really starting now, but increases between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. The most rain, that risk increases between 4 p.m. and 1 a.m. This is specifically kind of for the Corpus Christi area of the Coastal Bend, but does encompass the whole area. However, I do want to point out, Jim Hogg County, you're already seeing some of the heavy rain. Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Carly Smith. The time now is 10:15 a.m. and we are live with updates on when we're going to see the rain, where is the rain, and what are the risks that are associated with this rain. So we talked about the timeline. 2 p.m. things start to escalate a little bit here in the Coastal Bend. That is when our severe weather risk increases, and we'll talk about why now in this live update. So here's our severe weather risk. It's a level 2, so a slight risk out of 5. And the highest risk is going to be that flood potential. However, hail is going to be a risk as these thunderstorms are coming off those northern or those mountains into northern Mexico, the Sierra Madres on the eastern side. Hail could be possible the further to the west you live, the higher your chances of hail really do go up. Wind could mean an isolated gust around 60 miles per hour within a thunderstorm. That tornado risk, we have it highlighted as low. However, I would say that is very, very, very low. It's not a none, so it's not green, but it's not quite at the same level as our hail and wind risk. So let's move on along. Here's a look at Futurecast. I'm going to show the current radar here coming up, so hang on tight if you are interested in the live radar view, but this is the future. So for anyone watching this at a later point in time, this is still going to be fairly relevant, but you see right down Interstate 35 and then into Mexico, that's where thunderstorms are popping up. That's where the Gulf moisture is meeting the drier air and the storm energy that is coming off those mountains in northern Mexico. That's the Sierra Madres, right? So the storm energy is coming from an upper level low. It's going up and over those mountains, and that's adding to our instability. On top of that, you have at the surface that southeast flow coming off the Gulf, and that's boosting our humidity and increasing our storm chances as well. So hello Aguilar and Tambourine, thank you so much for watching. As we put this into motion, this is noon, and this is not an exact scenario. This is just a possibility of how things may play out, right? But I want to point out, once we get to 4 p.m., our rain chances really start to boost. We start to see, we've passed our peak heating hours, which is typically 3 p.m. here in the Coastal Bend. So our heating hours have peaked, our instability will have peaked, and then we start to see that rain really encompassing the area closer to dinner time. So 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m. we start to see more rain in the area. Now the more kind of widespread this rain becomes, the lower our instability is going to go. So if we're gonna get severe weather, it's likely going to A, be while the sun is still up, and B, happen before we start to see more rain encompassing the region. But later on today, so it's not here yet, but later on today, after 4 p.m. is when our rain chances really start to go up. As we head into the overnight hours, we almost get a squall line that could create some strong winds along the coast with some heavy rainfall. But by midnight, that line of thunderstorms is now moving into the Gulf of Mexico and approaching areas like Houston, right? We still are going to have some isolated activity behind this line. We're still going to be seeing some energy. That upper level low, I've got a map that's going to show that later, is still coming across the mountains. But this is why I have the timing set where I do. So severe weather starts to go up closer to 2 p.m. because we've gotten hot. But as you see in this instability, through the morning, the the green color, right? So that's still a fairly low level of storm energy. But that was closer to Brownsville and the Rio Grande Valley this morning. That's where all the thunderstorm action was this morning. With the heat of the day and the approaching upper level low, we're going to see that storm energy shifting north. And as it does so, our storm chances are going to go up. That's why they're not high yet, but they're increasing as we speak. So we've got thunder report in Kingsville. Thank you, Ruben. Thank you for watching. Zach, Tambourine, for your comments. It's cloudy in Beeville. We're going to get you some rain. Beeville has actually saw a little bit of rain this morning. So anyway, that instability, look, by the time we get to 4:30, so 2 p.m. to 4:30, we continue to see our instability, our storm energy going up. So you see that Corpus Christi south toward the valley is where we're going to have our highest levels of storm energy. That's why rainfall totals as of this morning are trending higher further south for areas like Kennedy County, Jim Hogg County, and Brooks County, and then areas closer to the valley. But you see that storm energy kind of inching into Jim Wells County, Claver County, Nueces County as well. This is 4:30. So 4:30 kind of becomes our sweet spot where if we have some thunderstorms in the area, odds are they're going to be pretty strong. They're going to produce some heavy rainfall, and there will be a low risk for some about quarter-size hail, so that's about 1 inch in diameter. And additionally, the wind gust, isolated pockets of wind gusts, could reach around 60 miles per hour. Animals are pretty smart, Noah. They tend to know when stuff is raining better than we do. So as we continue on, you see the instability going away. That's going to be convective inhibition or SIN covering the area in the wake of the storm. So that's going to be rain-cooled air, lowering our instability. And additionally, the cooler air of the night starts to lower the instability. And our energy from the upper level low, again, I'm going to show that map coming up, is going to start to go down as we start to get on the backside of that area of low pressure into Friday morning. So by Friday, our instability is lower. We still will have some straggling rain. We still see the instability trying to go up with the daytime heat into Friday. But now we're on the backside of that storm system. We're not getting that additional boost of lift. It's not heat. It's not all we need to get showers and thunderstorms down here. So we're not getting that additional form of lift when it comes to the upper level instability. And we just will not see much in the way of rainfall heading into Saturday. So that was a lot of explanation, but hopefully it was helpful. Here's where I am anticipating the most rain. Kennedy County, Jim Hogg County, Brooks County, and south of there. However, this can still change based on where those waves of instability kind of line up. So it could still shift a little bit here or there. I don't think it will get as far north as San Antonio. It's either going to be kind of smack dab across the coastal bend, or it's going to be further south toward the valley. And all of the model data as of this morning has been trending toward higher rainfall totals in the valley. So we're talking 5 to 8 inches of additional rainfall on this Thursday on top of what was seen yesterday. 1 to 3 inches is pretty much a guarantee across the coastal bend, but we could definitely have some isolated higher amounts, and the further south and kind of southwest you live, the higher your odds are of that. You see the yellow and the orange on this map? That's going to be our watershed. So I would love to get more rain in the watershed, and that's still a possibility, especially in the southern half of the watershed, but the northern half closer to San Antonio wound up missing the rain based on where that low pressure kind of starts to set up. So through Friday morning, we are tracking heavy rain and thunderstorms. Flooding is going to be our biggest impact, so you've got to keep up to date with the forecast. Check road conditions before you head out. DriveTexas.org is a great way to do that, as well as KIIITV.com. We'll have any big updates when it comes to flooding or storm damage, always right there on our website. So keep up to date. Our app, KIII TV app, 3 News app, lots of ways to search for it in the App Store. Look for it, find it, download it. It's a great tool to have. Rainfall totals. These are actual rainfall totals from midnight Wednesday all the way through 9 a.m. on Thursday. So Mathis has been kind of the highlight, nearing 5 inches of rainfall in that area right over Lake Corpus Christi, which has shown some signs of boosting our lake levels at least by about 0.2 to 0.4%. So that's a huge bonus. We would love to get more, but we really need 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 inches, a little bit more to the north and west of George West to get big results into our lakes. But the bonus of this is it's going to help with our soil moisture and our drought conditions. Lowering our drought conditions is going to lower our fire danger risk, and additionally, when it does rain, which there's not a lot of rain in the next 7 to 14 days, but when it does rain, again, as long as our soil moisture is high enough, that allows the water to flow into our lakes and creeks and reservoirs and rivers and then fill our lakes. So if we could stay or keep our soil out of drought, then that will help the rain that does fall to make it to our reservoirs, right? But regardless, these are our current rainfall totals as of 9 a.m. this morning. They are going to change, especially Hebbronville. I don't think that's the latest report. So a lot of rainfall starting to show up there into Brooks County, well, especially Jim Hogg County. So I'll break that down in just a second. But something else we've got to talk about is flooding. So we do have some flood warnings in place through Friday evening. The Aransas River at Skidmore is where we have actually seen some higher levels in the river there. So the river at Skidmore has recorded 12.55 feet at 1 a.m. It's lowered a little bit since then, but the forecast does have it going back up with more rainfall later on today. The crest is going to be later on this evening. Similar conditions for areas along the Nueces River there, south of Mathis, and additionally the San Bernardino, I think that's what it's called. I could be wrong, but the creek that flows there on the east side of Alice, that area also has a risk of flooding with the potential or with the rainfall that we're going to continue to see. We also, it looks like, have now added the Nueces River there south of Tilden into the flood warning risk as well. So now here's our live radar, y'all. Are you ready for this? How about Sinton? Okay, so the entire coastal bend, I pretty much have a guarantee of 1 to 3 inches. This rainfall that we're seeing into Duval County, southern Jim Wells County, Claiborne County, starting to move into Nueces County. Are you ready for this rain? Lots of lightning. Lightning is a good sign. That means there's a lot of convection. That means the updraft is strong enough to have some ice or reach the levels higher in the atmosphere that are colder, and that allows ice crystals to develop. So if you're seeing lightning, you've got a pretty healthy thunderstorm, and that's going to produce some higher rainfall amounts for us, right? So lightning, not great. You don't want to be struck by it when thunder roars head indoors. It can also create wildfires, right? Or strike houses, and we don't want that to happen. However, if lightning is on the board, that means we've got a pretty healthy thunderstorm, and we're going to get some decent rain out of it. Look at all of this. This is coming up our way. In fact, the rainfall timeline I had might need to be adjusted a little bit, but this is moving pretty slow. Overall, it's been moving about 15 to 25 miles per hour. So if we kind of track that out, that would have it 11 kind of coding Kings. It's just barely reaching Alice, Kingsville, Rivera. The heavier stuff will be approaching that area between 11 and 11:30. I think Corpus Christi, it's going to be closer to noon, 12:30 or 1 before we really start to see more persistent heavy to moderate to heavy rainfall, right? So that's what we're seeing right now. Let's take a look at some of these rainfall totals. So this is radar estimated, but you see over the last 3 hours that rainfall has really taken over Jim Hogg County. And over the last hour specifically, we have seen some rainfall amounts that are around 1 to 2 inches per hour within this storm. So this is our soaking rain that is setting up, and it's actually setting up in the southern half of the coastal bend, which is going to be great for our area. If we could get a little bit more north to get into Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon, that would be even better. But again, it's always a big bonus if we can get our soil moisture back out of drought conditions, and that's what we're working on now. But you'll see those storms moving up. In fact, the activity that's south of Laredo, that's headed toward the Lake Corpus Christi, maybe Choke Canyon area. So that won't be there till closer to 2 o'clock, it looks like this afternoon, but all of this is gonna be moving into the coastal bend, and that is a big bonus for us, a big bonus. Let's take a look at the bigger picture, right? So we're still seeing convection developing there south of Brownsville. That's a good sign. We wanna see new convection continuing to develop. We're getting that coming off the Sierra Madres there, south of Big Bend as well. That could provide a little bit more rainfall in our northern watershed, which would be a bonus as well. But all of this rain is slowly drifting northeast. Like I said, Corpus Christi, I think it will be closer to lunchtime, if not closer to 1 p.m. that we see most of this rain. But right now we are just muggy and we are waiting on the rain, y'all. 71 degrees, wind is out of the southeast at 6 miles per hour. Temperatures right now are in the low 70s where we have seen rain. It's a little cooler, but Beeville's been without rain for a little while now, so you're back up to 68 degrees, 67 in Freer, 68 right now in Benavides. And again, what we are seeing is a lot of those thunderstorms have been further to our south because that's where that kind of stationary boundary has been hanging out. That boundary is going to slowly move north as we get daytime heating and that southerly flow to continue to push it to the north a bit. And that is really going to help us get a little bit more rainfall here in the coastal bend. We do have flood watch in place. That's going to be through Friday morning. So that flood watch is in place from Corpus Christi up through Houston, and that does include the valley as well. All right, here's another look outside from our Alex camera, 71 degrees. Temperatures are gonna stay right there in the mid 70s to low 70s all day long under that cloud coverage. It'll fluctuate based on whether or not we see rain. So Corpus Christi, our rain chances and our wind speeds even do go up into this afternoon. So we'll have higher wind. Some gusts may reach around 35 miles per hour. We saw some of that overnight, but the wind is expected to pick up this afternoon as well as our storm chances are expected to pick up. I think we could be seeing a decent amount of rain around 6 p.m. this evening, so that is a good sign. We love to hear it, right? So this is what I talk about when I say the upper level energy, right? Actually, let's back up. I think it's gonna zoom too fast, but Fremont actually saw around 2 to 3 inches of rain yesterday, Michael, so hopefully that's been helpful, but you're definitely going to get more. It's on the way. It's really close. It's starting to enter southern Jim Wells County, so that'll hit Fremont first before it hits Alice. But let's see if I can back up. So you see that low, right? That's our upper level low. It's still moving over northern Mexico. In between that low and the high, I didn't pause it well enough, we're getting a boost in our moisture that's coming out of, this is backwards, but it's coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, right? So the Gulf, we're boosting that moisture, and then the energy is coming out of the west, right? So with that energy and the moisture kind of colliding, we're getting thunderstorms that are developing right off the base of those Sierra Madres. So what you have going on there is you have the storm energy coming over the mountains. Then you also have orographic lift, which is a natural rising and sinking form of air that goes over the mountains. That helps produce an additional form of lift. If we can get a thunderstorm going, it's going to move into our warm and humid environment, and it's going to keep going. As long as our instability keeps going up, like the forecast showed, if you were watching this at the start, which is roughly 15 minutes ago or so, then you really saw that instability growing as we head into the afternoon hours, which is only going to boost our storm chance and boost our rain chances. So afternoon, it's 10:33 right now. Afternoon, our storm chances and our instability are only going up. So that's a good sign for us getting rain, right? These little pockets of red and yellow, that's our storm energy. The more red, the more energy we're gonna have. And the boost of energy actually comes out ahead of this. So our rainfall is actually gonna develop just ahead of the low and where we're seeing the energy. So storm chances still looking pretty good, especially near the coast as we head into the 6 p.m. hour. We're gonna continue to see some of this activity into the overnight hours, but by the time we get to Friday morning, if that low is over us, the upper level low, we start to see our storm chances going down because it's better out ahead of it. So storm chances into Friday start to shift from Victoria to Houston and then into southern Louisiana. And by the time we get to Saturday, we're on the back side of the low and our storm chances go way, way down and we start to heat up. So temperatures will be back around the mid 80s over the weekend and see all the storm energy staying to our north through Saturday and Sunday. So here's one more look at Futurecast. This is 3 p.m. Storm activity really picking up across the coastal bend. In fact, this model starting to look a little better than it did this morning. So what I want to point out is 8 p.m. we're still pretty stormy, but after the sun goes down, we start to lose that instability naturally, and rain-cooled air is more stable than just warm, humid air. So once we start to see the rain move in, we're going to lower that instability. Our severe risk goes way down once it has already rained. With that being said, rain can still develop, right? So we're going to continue to see some spotty showers into Friday morning and then into early Friday afternoon before we start to dry things out. So again, once we get to lunchtime and then through about 8 p.m., that's going to be our best shot for some pretty heavy rainfall. Then it's going to be a little bit more hit and miss into the night. I would tie up a few things. If you do get one of these thunderstorms, high-end wind would be 60 miles per hour. Sustained wind, regardless, is going to be about 15 to 25 miles per hour. That's without a thunderstorm. So if you have time to tie things up, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Steven, where are you reporting from? Because the rain is not quite here yet, but it is coming. So, as I mentioned, the severe risk still in place for us early tomorrow morning, but it does shift more so to Houston and Louisiana into tomorrow afternoon. Hey, let's talk Watershed, right? So Choke Canyon, 15.4%, Lake Corpus Christi, 20.9%. Combined lake level up 16.7. Now over the last week, that's fallen by 0.1, but I will say as of yesterday, that's gone up by about 0.1, 0.2%. So the rain is helping. It could help more, but you do see at least some purple in the watershed, which means some rainfall totals around 2 inches. We'd love to see more purple, but anytime we see blue or purple, that's a good sign for a watershed, right? It's not going to end the drought by any means, but every little bit is helpful when we're in these conditions. So here's what I mean. We get rid of the rain by late Friday into Saturday. Temperatures warm into the 80s, so we're 86 by Saturday, 88 by Sunday. And that's really pretty much going to do it for this live update. Again, I wish I put this graphic back at the end, but the severe weather risk goes up noon. For Corpus Christi, I think closer to 2, but the severe weather risk goes up around noon as we see more instability, and that will continue until we see the sun go down. However, the more rain we see, the lower our instability is, so that will limit our severe risk, which means hail and high wind. But rain is a good thing, and we're going to see it, and high-end would be 5 to 8 inches of additional rainfall. Everyone should see 1 to 3 inches of rain. That's going to come specifically around 2 to midnight tonight. So it's still kind of spotty off and on, but it's going to be more persistent as we head into the afternoon, late afternoon and evening hours. Thank you so much for watching this live update. Hopefully I answered all your questions. If not, post a comment and I'll try to get to them. And the time now is 10:38 a.m. and I'm meteorologist Carly Smith, signing off.